funny. So let me come back up here. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to real quick go away and make a bunch more of these basic logistics pipes, as well as a bunch more of the crafting logistics pipes, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so a little while later, I've made a bunch more of the basic logistics pipes, and then turned 16 of those into crafting logistics pipes. And what I'm going to do here, for an example, is I'm going to show you how I'm going to set up a auto crafting setup for the metal farmer. So what I'll probably end up doing is, oh, that made me move very slowly. I thought I'd broken something then. By the way, don't break industrial craft machines with a pickaxe. You will destroy them. Either move them with an industrial craft wrench or with a dolly like I'm doing here. You can put them down wherever you like so. What I'm probably going to end up doing is showing you how I would automate this one metal farmer, and then between episodes, I will try and make duplicates of almost all of my machines and then use those for auto crafting purposes, because I don't want to use my, like this setup that I have right here is not particularly great, because as you've seen if you watched any of my previous episodes, whenever I come to try to either smelt something or pulverize something, I usually have to take something out of the pulverizer or out of the redstone furnace, which kind of disrupts the flow and is just a big pain in the backside. And so what I'm going to do is have like one pulverizer and redstone furnace dedicated to just smelting the ore processing. I then want another redstone furnace and pulverizer that I'm going to use for just personal use when I'm crafting stuff, and then I want a third one that I'm going to use for auto crafting, which I'm going to put down here on this bottom floor. And what I'm going to do is exactly the same thing that I'm about to do with this metal farmer. So let's take this and let's bring it down to this lower floor here, and just to start with, what I'm going to do is actually quickly grab some cobblestone. I keep putting this down, by the way, because it's slowing me down and I don't really love moving so slowly, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it, for example, let's put it like right in the middle of all these glowstone lamps. Let's put it right about there, and you'll know why I've put it. I'm going to put it like a little bit off the floor, and you'll see why in just a second, because this auto crafting setup is going to be quite space intensive. It's going to take up a lot of space, and it's going to look pretty cool in my opinion. It's not quite as neat and compact as Applied Energistics, but as you've seen it from the recipes for the Applied Energistics 2 items, Applied Energistics is a little bit further on down the line. We're still waiting on a ton of plutonium in order to get most of that stuff. So for now, we're just going to do it like this. And what we could do is, a real basic thing to do would just be to put a crafting logistics pipe on the top like so, set that to a recipe, and then hook it up to the system, and that would work perfectly. The downside being that that would only allow us to auto craft one item for every single machine. So we'd have to make a ton of metal farmers in order for that to be any use whatsoever, because right now we can only put one set of inputs and one output per crafting logistics pipe. But what we can do to get around that is use some chests and some item ducts and a little bit of trickery to make it a little bit easier. So let me come back over here and let's grab a couple of chests for this setup. Let's just grab like a bunch of logs, craft those into some planks, then craft those planks into just a bunch of chests. And what we're going to do is we're going to have one chest at the top, and that chest is going to be the chest that is connected to the pipes. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our first chest right about here, and this is going to be the chest that all of our crafting logistics pipes connect to. And the reason why we're going to have a chest here instead of just connecting it directly to this metal farmer is that with this chest we can connect up to 4 of these crafting logistics pipes like so, and therefore have up to 4 recipes connected to this one chest connected to the metal farmer. And the way that it's going to work is we're going to tell the system, for example, if you send a copper ingot to this chest via this pipe, it will then send you back a copper plate. If you send a tin ingot via this pipe, it will come to this chest and you will get back a tin plate. If you send it via this one, iron plates, gold plates, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, for example, a transfer node go right about here and put anything that is in this chest into this metal farmer right here. And what we're going to do then, the metal farmer is going to work with the ingot, it's going to turn it into a plate or a wire or whatever, and then we want it to come back around through here and into the system like so. And this is essentially how we're going to quadruple the number of items that we can craft at any one given time. However, we do have to work with some filters, because right now what's going to happen is I'm going to put an ingot in here, it's going to go around into here, turn into a plate, the plate is then going to get pulled out back into here, and then because of the fact that the transfer nodes work very fast, the transfer nodes are going to pull out the plate again and put it into here, and then the systems are going to get stuck. And so what we're going to have to do is set up at least one filter for our transfer node. So filters are really easy to make. We've made them before. It's 1 string, 4 sticks, and 4 redstone. String we now have in abundance, however, it is all over here. I should really hook these up to our logistics pipe system so we can just request the stuff, but we did get 1 string, we do have redstone, and as we've seen, we do already have sticks, and sticks are super easy to come by now that we can auto craft them. But let's go ahead and do that, and for now, let's just give the example of the copper plate. So let's take, for example, a piece of copper, and let me quickly run run some power down to this metal former just to get things up and running. Okay, so now that we've got some power running to our metal former, I can actually show you how this works. By the way, the reason that I've got the insulated copper cable here is the copper cable's running down, connected to a MVY connected there, which then kind of connects underneath, across, round, up, and along like that. It's a bit of a janky system that looks a little weird, but it works, and it's sending power to the metal former here, and so that is how I'm going to keep it for now. I didn't want a wire going from here across to here, because I'm planning to put stuff in this space over here eventually as well, and so I kind of wanted it just to go out of the way, which is why I used these insulated copper cables. But back to the matter at hand, what we need to do is let's go ahead and put one of these copper ingots in here and turn those into a copper plate. Once we have that copper plate, we're then going to put that copper plate into the item filter here and then stick that item filter into this section. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to put a filter in that just says only pull out copper ingots from the top here, like so. So now only copper ingots will be pulled out of this chest. Once this plate has finished, you'll see there the plate finished and then didn't get pulled. It got pulled out but put directly back into here. So let's do that one more time. We put a copper ingot in here. Only the copper ingot should be pulled out. It should then get turned into a plate. This time, once it's finished, is this actually working? The system might not be working. Let me follow this back real quick. This has no power. Oh, it's because this over here is also disconnected. That is 100% the reason why. Let me quickly whip up a few more of these MVY connectors to finish this connection up. Okay, so now that this should be connected up, power should be flowing fairly nicely through all of this. Actually, this is real low on power because this is still crafting up these redstone golden chipsets. So if I stop that, that should start to fill up with power a little bit faster now because I believe this is running at full speed. That means all of these are receiving the maximum amount of steam that they can possibly receive from this boiler. So power should start to get sent through here, albeit possibly very slowly. And then therefore, this should start to craft up that copper into a copper plate, and then eventually once it's done, top tip, you can actually put redstone into industrial craft machines and it will act as power. It's not the most efficient use of redstone, but it does work whilst you're waiting for your power system to sort itself out. Now the plate goes back up into the chest and doesn't come back down into the metal former. And so what we can do is we can hook up these crafting pipes here to the rest of the logistics pipe system like we normally would. And then we could just tell every single one of them to craft a different item and it should work just fine. Because what the pipes are going to do is they're going to put their requested item into the chest. For example, if we go into this one and tell it to make copper plates, what it's going to do is, let's say, output copper plate. I did accidentally, I think, put all of my copper back into the system, but if we tell it to make copper plates, what it's going to do is it's going to put copper ingots from the system into that chest and then wait. It's going to keep checking that chest to see if a copper plate arrives in that chest, and as soon as a copper plate gets put into that chest, it's going to take it out and send it to whichever request pipe requested it. So let's go back to this one and let's just say I want you to turn copper ingots into copper plates. Like so. So now if we come back over to this guy, again go over to only craftables, we can see we can now craft sticks and copper plates. So let's go ahead and request a copper plate. That's going to pull a copper ingot from the system, send it around into this chest over here. This chest is then going to put it into this guy here, which is currently being powered by redstone. You'll see we don't have a logistics pipe here, and so it got a little bit confused, didn't know where to go, bounced around a little bit. They do kind of eventually get there, but they're sometimes pretty slow. This one has sent me a copper plate. I don't think that used the system. I don't think it used this here, did it? I don't think it did, but at the same time, it looks like it has used some redstone. Let me try that one more time. I don't think we have any plates in the system. So let's again go back to craftable. Let's request a copper plate. That should send copper and only copper over to here this time. We don't have to put another logistics pipe over there. It should come over here. It's then going to come down, craft that up into a plate. And then once it receives a plate, you'll see actually there, I think what that one, yeah, this is crafting up a plate. And then once this is done, I think what it did before, we already had a plate in there, and so it sent it back a little faster than usual. But once it gets a plate, it sends it back, and that is how we're going to auto-craft with the machines. We're going to use all of our machines. I'm going to have setups like this on every single one of our machines, but I don't want to stop here. I want to expand this a little bit more so that we can have more than 4 crafts on any one given machine. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away, I'm going to set up how I want to set up all of my machines, and then I'll come back in a second to talk you guys through how it works. And a little while later, this is the setup that I'm probably going to end up using for most of my machines here. And basically, it's the same setup that we just had, but with more than one chest. So right now we have 3 chests, and the idea is the same. same. All of the items will come to one of the 4 crafting pipes on each of the chests, allowing for up to 12 recipes with our current setup. Anything that's in any of these chests will then be pulled out from this transfer node here, which will be filtered. Every single one of these will be filtered to only pull out certain items. So whatever item this guy is crafting in the metal former, send it round through to here. The reason why we have a hopper and a chest and not just a normal metal former is that if I require an item that needs like multiple items from this machine, I don't want everything to try and use it at once, if that makes sense. So for example, if I requested iron plates and copper plates as part of the same recipe, I don't want them to kind of have to fight to get to the metal former, so everything can kind of just move through smoothly. And then these guys here, these item ducts, are then going to pull things out and into the chest. I could have used transfer nodes here again, but item ducts I think are a little bit cheaper. And also originally my design looked a little bit like this. It had one kind of there, and the fact that these don't connect to these made life a little bit easier as well, because I put a transfer node there, this would connect, and then mess the whole things up. Now that I've moved those to here, you probably could just replace these with normal transfer nodes, but I think it looks kind of cool as well, and so I'm going to keep it like this. We do need to put servos on here, so we are going to have to make a few of the thermal expansion servos. I don't think we're going to need anything higher than the first tier. The first tier does only allow you to filter 3 items, and actually, yeah, we're totally going to have to make higher than the first tier. Probably the second tier. This one here, the hardened server, which is made using 2 invar, 1 redstone, 2 iron nuggets, and 1 glass. And the reason for that is that we only want item ducts pulling out items for their specific chest. And by the way, you can input and pull out from any side on the metal former. It's not like the top is the only place you can input, so, and you don't have to pull out on the right here. You can pull out on the left just fine. So for example, if this pipe here was set to make iron plates, and this one was set to make copper plates, we would want the iron ingot to come into here, go through, go around, go in. We don't then want the iron plate to end up in this chest. It has to end up in this chest, and that means that we have to filter the items that this item duct and all of the item ducts pull out. And because there are 4 things on each chest, that means that a basic server won't do, because a basic server only allows us to filter for 3 different items. And so we're going to have to make at least a hardened one, and then later on down the line we could even go further on and get some higher tier ones as well. So let's quickly grab some invar. Let's grab some iron for some nuggets. We already have the redstone. Let's do something like that. We've got the glass. I think that's pretty much everything. We can do something like this. We can now go and stick those onto here. We are, of course, going to have to make a second set of those if we want to hook up, for example, this third one back here. But for now, let's put that on there. That allows us to whitelist up to 6 items, which for now is more than enough. And I'm fairly certain that you could expand this pretty much indefinitely. Like right now, this setup can craft up to 12 items from one machine. We could, of course, put the same like setup we have on the back here on the front and up the number of items to 16. I'm not going to do that just yet, because I kind of like the look of being able to see and access the machine and not having it just like fully covered up by all of these chests. But in the future, if I need to add 4 more extra recipes to the system, I can go ahead and add them if I want to. And I think you could go even further than that. You could probably have even more chests further out and then have all those pump in and have all those pump back and set up a really elaborate system that had a possibly infinite number of crafting logistics pipes attached to any one machine. For now, we're not going to go that far. We're going to leave it as it is and do no more than 12 of any given machine. But one thing I do want to point out is that for these guys here, for these connections, I think we're going to have to do something like this and hook it up kind of like that to make sure that it works, because otherwise I think we're going to run into issues. But when I say that, I mean that I think we have to use normal basic logistics pipes to hook all of this stuff up, because if we use gold pipes, I believe the items would kind of get lost in translation. That wants to be there. I want to make sure these all kind of look the same, just to make it a little bit more organized, because our island's a bit of a mess, not gonna lie so far. So I would like this bottom section to be as organized as possible while still looking really cool. So if we were to hook all of this up, so we put one there, let's put one there, and then let's do, now what we have to do is hook this up to the actual system. And the way that I'm going to do that, I was kind of thinking up and over, but if I go up and over, that's probably going to interfere with the chest. It totally is, but what we can probably do, and what I believe we can do actually, is get a plug and plug up that hole. But if we do that, that puts all of these online. Let me quickly look up the recipe for the plug. This guy right here, pipe plug, is made from cobblestone structure pipe, which is just 2 cobblestone and 1 gravel. I'm fairly certain if we use that, what we can do is actually stop any items from passing through that golden pipe into the chest. Let me test this out real quick. Let's get 2 cobblestone and 1 gravel, craft those both up in here like so, and then if we craft that up into 4 plugs, I believe we can then plug up this hole right about here, and that's going to stop anything going in there, so anything will only ever come out of there, up and around. We also want to make sure it goes to that one there, because this one is a logistics pipe, this one's a crafting logistics pipe. I'm not quite sure if crafting logistics pipes work in the same way as normal logistics pipes too, as in they are clever enough to reroute. If they are, we could probably get rid of some of these. Actually, you know, I think they might be, so you could probably get rid of these, actually use golden pipes and save a lot of pipes in doing so. But I'm not too sure. I'll test it between episodes and see if I can figure out whether or not they are smart enough to just have golden pipes there or not. I'll do some tests. But basically now, what we can do, this thing is all hooked up. I will go ahead and plug that real quick, just in case they are not smart enough. So now that's going to come down to this logistics pipe and then send it where it needs to go from there. Yeah, so those are all hooked up. So now what we can do is we can put up to 12 recipes for this metal former. And what I'm going to do between episodes is set up a bunch of these kind of all around this bottom layer here. We're probably going to have at least 3 metal formers. One set to rolling, one set to cutting, and one set to extruding, so we can craft all that stuff up like this. I'm probably not going to use metal formers for making plates. What I'll do is I'll set up 2 of the metal presses that we have over here. I'll take this one downstairs. I'll make another one downstairs. We'll set one to make plates and one to set gears, and then we can auto-craft all of our gears, auto-craft all of our plates. I'll probably make another pulverizer, another redstone furnace, so we can automatically smelt all of our stuff, or up to 12 items, I guess, for now. Automatically pulverize stuff, and it is going to be fantastic. So that is how I plan to auto-craft all of the stuff here. Just for testing's sake, let's go ahead. Is this receiving power without this now? I'm still not sure. But for testing's sake, let's set up a couple of plates to be crafted. So let's come up to the surface again, and let's just grab a couple of ingots so we can turn into plates. So tin, iron, gold. I don't know if you can do silver, but I'll do lead, copper, and also we need to put some stuff away. Let me quickly just like do a bit of an inventory dump into here. If we put all those in there, grab a few more items, get that gold back. Let's set up a couple of crafts in here. So let's say, for example, that on this side, we want to have, let's say, tin, and then on this one, we wanted iron. And then I'm going to mix and match a little bit. I'm going to come over here and say this one wants gold, just to make sure this all works like as intended. And then we'll do like copper there. And then we'll do lead at the back end here. We'll put lead in there. And then, of course, we do have to turn all of these into plates real quick. And once we've got all of those plates, all we have to do is set them to their respective outputs. So tin plates can go there. This one was iron plates. Iron plates can go there. Over here, I think we had gold. Yeah, we'll put gold in there. And then I'm pretty sure it was copper on that one. And then right at the back, we can set up our lead. And now we should be able to go into our request pipe, either over here or up at the top. And also, we can get rid of these pipes. These serve no real use right now. But we can go into here. We can go to craftable. We can now see all of those plates. And if I requested one of each of those plates, it should send one of each ingot through to its respective pipe, into its chest, through the transfer nodes into this chest, and then one at a time down into here. Make sure these servos are set to ignore redstone signals, so they'll pull out. Ooh, don't do that just yet, actually. We wanted to pull out, but not quite yet. You can see it's sending all the items to the right places. All those things will then get set up into here. They are all back to waiting to go. You'll see the lead plate is almost done. Lead is on the back, so what we want to do is quickly whip up some more servos, because we don't have a servo for the back piece there. So let's grab some more of that. We should already have some iron nuggets. We do. We've got glass. Let's get redstone. Let me quickly get 2 more of those higher tier servos, like so, and stick one on the back and set it to filter out lead. And once we've done that, we should be almost good to go. So we want you to pull out lead plates, and we want to whitelist lead plates. Blacklisting means you'll pull out anything, but we want to whitelist lead plates on the back there. This one is gold and copper. This one here is iron and tin. Again, whitelist, you want to make sure it's ignored, so it'll automatically pull out without a redstone signal, like so. So that one should pull out the lead plate once it's done, like it's just done. It should then send that lead plate back along through the top. Look at that. That lead plate is on its way back. And if we just wait here now, all of those plates should automatically craft for us and should automatically just end up on the floor right about here. Right now, we've got one of every plate. If we leave it for a few, like maybe a minute, because this thing right now is pretty slow. I do want to work on getting some overclockers and making our machines a little bit faster at some point in the near future. But all of this stuff's working. It is all working, and it is all auto-crafting for us. And once we get this set up on, like, mass production, once we have a bunch of machines set up, and we have all of our recipes, all of our most commonly used recipes just ready to go, it's going to be so much easier to craft anything that we like. We've already got lead and tin. I was going to leave them on the floor, but they'll probably despawn. This one is tin. We're still waiting on gold and copper. They should all come through fairly soon. This guy is currently running on redstone. Ooh, that didn't work. So I guess you can't make gold plates. Wait, I just made a gold plate in there, right? Did I not? Why did... Ooh. Why? Oh, it's because they're not... Right. It's because they're not whitelisted. These are not properly filtered, which is why that's happened. We need to get a few more of these filters, and we need to specify in each one that we want. For example, on this side, copper and gold plates only. Sorry, not copper and gold plates, copper and gold ingots only to be pulled out of this thing here. For now, I'll just say it's copper, but we need to put the filter in the top there. So don't forget to put the filters in, otherwise you end up with stuff like this, where the gold got put through twice, and so did the copper, and we ended up with the wrong item there. We got lucky on a few of them, where the logistics system pulled it out before the transfer node could, but to be on the safe side, you want to make sure you put filters in every single one of these. So in this case, we put lead filter on this one, iron and tin on this one, copper and gold on this one. And like I said, I'm not going to keep this because I don't want to use the metal former for making plates. I want to use the metal press for that. What we will use this for is making things like wires and also things like item casing as well. But with that, guys, I'm going to end this episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Skyblock there. What I'll do between episodes is set up a couple more of these, maybe all of them, I'm not quite sure. I'll set up a bunch more of these all the way along here, all the way down here. I'll also make a bunch more of duplicate machines so that we still have them all up here, but also have a secondary one or a third one down here for auto-crafting purposes. I'll try and set as many of those up. I might not have them all done my next episode, but over the course of the next few episodes, I'll set up as many as I can. As always, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please hit like. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time.